Hello, let me turn this music off. Sorry, I got a little hot, so I took it back on. Hello, everyone. How did my intro go? I'm so nervous. So I was over analyzing it, and I didn't want to play because I was afraid that I would go on stream before I hit the button. But then I realized that I need to add myself to the stream and I could play that first. And I practiced it last night before I tried it. Hello, Lynn. Hey, Sarah. Hey, Princess Megan, Elsa. Hey, Allie. Hey, Paul. Hey, Voices. Hey, Jameson. Hey, Jen. Hey, Linda. One moment. Talking to her, I guess I said a name that sounds like thank you. Do you think it's the hoodie guy, Lynn? I always thought from the beginning that that was definitely the wrong mic. Hold on, let me check my settings. Is that better? That was weird. I like changed my mic. Okay. That should be better. I changed my mic. It automatically changed it for some reason. I don't know. I never had that happen to me. Like usually I pop on and it's on this mic like automatically. I don't know why I did that. Thank you. No, it wasn't the mic direction. It changed the mic like completely. Hold on, let me turn my phone volume down. So, thank you. Isn't this adorable? And I have pants that match it too. Look. See? I got this from Fashion Nova too. I love like the hoodies and the sweat outfits from Fashion Nova. I'll buy them all day long. They're thick, they're warm, and they're cute. I buy some other stuff from there, but you have to read the comments and see like if it runs big or runs small, because sometimes you'll think you're getting your size and it'll be like really tight or too loose. So I go by like the comment section. People will post like I'm 5'2" and I got this one. And so I love their sweat outfits though. They're always really cute. And thank you, Ellie. So oh yeah, I got this like last year, and I got the one I wore on my birthday last year there too. But their sweat outfits are really, really comfortable, and I feel like they're thick and like good quality. They're not cheap. Like they do have some cheap stuff. Oh, there's another one. If you guys like full body suits, the girls, if you like full body suits, there's one called it's something Snatched. Like if you go on there and type in Snatched, it's this like full body suit that is real tight, so it like, but it's like stretchy, but it like hugs in all your curves, and then you could wear like a oversized flannel or something over top of it. And the Snatched one is so cute. I was gonna wear it one night, but it gets really hot in this room because it's near the furnace, so I don't wear it. But it is, I would like die if I'm actually hot in this, but it is super cute. I might just have to wear it one night to show it off, but it reminds me of like, you know, the Britney outfit in Toxic, the tight red one, but it's not like pleather or whatever. It's like cloth, like regular cloth, but it's ribbed. It has like little lines in it, and it's really, really cute. Just look up Snatched, and you'll find it. But yeah, I want. Okay, so I've been hearing that they may have taken Hoodie Guy off the clear list, but I've just been hearing that. I don't know if it's true, so I'm gonna go look myself. But I did see this video, and now I'm kind of like flabbergasted about it. So somebody Hold on. I guess, like, fix the sound on the food truck video, and you can hear Maddie telling the hoodie guy "F you" before they walk away. I think it was right before they walk away, but like, you can hear her say that. And it, like, I mean, obviously, I just want to see if they removed him from the list because I've been hearing that. And I don't know if it's true or not, but that would be interesting if they did. Where is... Are there... Alright, so did Kaylee have a stalker? No. Is the public in danger? Alright, so the 2 surviving roommates is not believed to be involved. Oh, they still have mail in the grub truck surveillance video up there, so he hasn't been removed. But apparently, she said it twice, Jameson? Yeah, that's crazy to me. She definitely said F you. I hope they look more into that because, I mean, I don't know exactly why they cleared him or if he has, like, a really good alibi, but that's pretty telling. If she's saying F you to the guy right before they walk off and he was with them right there and they leave him, I mean, yeah, I've always felt a certain way about him too. Look, all right, I have no I heard he's in Africa too. Like, this is all rumor. I have no clue. I can't confirm he's actually in Africa. I mean, I could look up his family's Facebooks. I did do that before, but I'm not going to share them because I don't want to, like, dox him. But I have heard that he is an African. He went to Africa without taking a DNA test. But again, I just have to stress, I don't know if that's completely true or not. So, you know, I don't want to just say it. Like, I don't want to say it as fact. But, okay. So from what I've seen, now again, a lot of this stuff I've seen on Reddit, so it could just be people making this stuff up, but some of it is super detailed and it kind of sounds like they could be telling, like, being serious about it and they do know something about him. But I've seen probably like 8 or 9 different posts on Reddit of people saying they know who that guy is and he gives them the creeps and they don't like him at all. Like, at least 8 or 9 posts saying that that guy gives them the total creeps. He's very strange. And I mean, being strange doesn't make you a murderer, but if you were with them the night that they get killed and they are heard on camera telling him F you, then they definitely need to look, I feel like, more into that. Yeah. Steve Gonsalves. All right, let me just say, this is a hard one for me because I can see from both sides. I'm not anti-law enforcement, and I understand why law enforcement keeps stuff close to the chest. Sure, Paul. I mean, you don't have to do that, but I'm totally down to do that if you want to. I am. There's something. Yeah, I've heard that he was kicked out of his fraternity. Supposedly, I can't confirm this either, but supposedly he lived in the apartments, like, literally 10 feet away, which... Yeah, Parker. Yeah. I was like, I should have just said I'm going, like, I'm live, but I was kind of like in a rush. Yes, isn't it, Paul, so sweet? And I just want to say, guys, thank you so much for my birthday. It was great, and especially Paul for buying all those rounds. You're the best. Hey, Ecto. Okay, sounds good. So here's I feel I'm kind of like stuck in the middle between this because I feel bad for him and I understand the frustration because if my child was brutally murdered, I would want to know everything. I mean, like, I would want to know when, where, why, who. I would be frustrated if I wasn't. I don't think he's rushing. I don't think he wants the case to be solved like that. I mean, let's be real. That never happens. That's just not typical, you know. But I think that he just wants more communication, I guess, or but then again, I understand why police probably don't want to communicate with him because, he has all these news agencies, sorry, that are in his face hyping him up to get information out of him, and he's angry, so I can see both sides. They don't want to risk messing up the investigation, and he is frustrated because it's his child. It is his kid, and he wants answers, or he wants updates, answers, something more than he's getting. He feels in the dark, I guess. So, I don't know. I've heard Kaylee's dad was in law enforcement. Is that true? I don't know. I mean, I haven't really looked into that, but I didn't see anything of that. I haven't heard anything of it. Hey, Lori. Yeah, I hope you're feeling better, Lori. Well, thanks, Paul. Lives 1 minute away, told on camera, F off, kicked out of the corner club, kicked out of the frat. Is there confirmation that he was actually kicked out of the corner club? Now, I heard that too, but I don't know if it was confirmed. He does have pictures with a hunting knife because I've seen them. He does have picture butchering an animal. She did say fuck you to him because I heard it. So I definitely think that's probably an angle they need to look more into for sure. Like, I totally agree with that, and I hope that they didn't. I hope that the extent to talking with him is just having a conversation and talking to that other guy, Joe, who said that the guy seemed nice and he was just being helpful. I mean, like, we can't go off what that guy said. You know what I mean? Hey, Boston Nick. We can't just go off what that guy said. So let me just pull up this clip real quick because I want you guys to hear it, see if you can hear it, where she says F you. Like, she really, thank you. Isn't this cute? I love it. One second while I remember where it is. So, this is Ickmail. Ickmail has been doing a really good job covering the story. So let me just give the link to the video, so you guys have it. But I'm gonna play it right here. He'll have me. I've been playing COD all day. I'm coming for him. All right, I will. Hold on. There's the link for it, but I'm gonna play it right now. I don't know if I'm gonna, but I really hope that the media stops hyping up Steve, because I like he's I don't know how, if the information that he's putting out is too. I'll go over that in a second too, but let me just play this real quick. So they said that the guy notices the camera and then he puts his hat and his hood up. I didn't even realize that was a camera. If it is, oh, come on.
That was a solid rush. It's a good thing that it ended, but this is Friday and Saturday in a row.
Did you hear it? It's kind of hard. Hold on, let me rewind it.
That was a solid rush. It's a good thing that it ended, but this is Friday.
And it's right when she points at him too. Yeah, hold on. I just, when I make it bigger for some reason, it fucks up my, playing. I don't know why.
End it, but this is Friday and Saturday in a row. Solid rush. It's a good thing that it ended, but this is Friday and Saturday in a row.
So you can see right when she points at him, she says, "Fuck you." And she literally points at him like that. Yeah, he's a pit bull. Like, for sure, I get that, but I'm just afraid. Like, here's the problem. There's a lot of nutters that come forward and say, "Oh, I did this," and then they have to have this information, or somebody. All right, for instance, if they don't leak any information, right, and then some guy goes to his friend in jail and says, or even just his good friend and says, "Hey, I killed those girls. I cut this girl's neck and I stabbed this girl in the chest." And if the public doesn't know it, but that particular guy knows it, then they can say, "Well, that's our guy because we haven't told anyone." That's why it's so important for the police not to leak any information. And the more Steve puts out this information, the more it clues the killer into knowing what they know. You know what I mean? Or you have some nutters who go and say, "I killed the girls, I did this," and they ask them what happened, and everything they say doesn't match up, so they can be like, "All right, this isn't our guy, he's just nuts." Like, you know what I mean? So, all right, so in that video, Madison points at Hoodie guy and says, "F you." I don't know if she said back off. I can rewind it and see.
That was a solid rush. It's a good thing that it ended, but this is Friday and Saturday in a row.
I don't know. Oh, she's definitely saying "fuck you." Like, I can see it. I mean, I can hear it. I need she points at him too. She goes, "Fuck you." But I need headphones to hear if she says back off. I can't tell. But they leave as soon as she points at him, says "F you," and then they walk away. But yeah, it's really important that police, that's why the police doesn't, that's why the cops don't tell the family things. Even that's why they say, "We can't let you know this now. We can't tell you this," because of those reasons, and because of this reason, because Fox News and Brian Etten and all them are interviewing them, and he's angry because he wants information. It's this kid. He wants to know what happened to his kid. So I can understand where he's coming from too. That's my kid. I deserve answers. I deserve to know. He doesn't understand why he doesn't deserve to know, but it's important that they don't know, because then sometimes you can't help it but get mad and those things come out, and then the killer's tipped off for what you're saying. So I understand his frustration, and I understand can you confirm the rumor that Kaylee's sister described the wounds of the girls? All I've heard was Brian Etten say that, not the sister. Yeah, I mean, for the father to say I paid for this info, like, that's, he knew from, I guess, what he saw himself. But still, him putting out this information could hurt them being able to pinpoint somebody. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Joe doesn't say that, but Joe, I don't like Joe either. Like, did you hear how he talked about them? He was like, "Yeah, when I was at the bar, like, they bumped into me," and I was like, "Ew." Like, he was very, I don't know. Like, he sounds like he didn't like them. So I don't know. Maybe he wasn't paying attention at that particular point, or like what was going on. I don't know. Or maybe he felt like the guy was being nice to them and they were being mean to him. I don't know. Yeah, exactly. You don't want to tip off the suspect. You don't want to tip off. I mean, what if the suspect goes and tells his best friend, like, something, like, hints that it could be something, or there's a piece of the puzzle that only they know, and then a friend finds out a little bit of that puzzle and goes to police, then they know that's their person because, they, oh, it's good, it's fine. I'm not cold. I don't have a cold anymore. Hey, pecan pie. Yeah, or they'll spook the person and they'll run off or whatever if they think they're on to them, you know. And I'm pretty sure Steve said that he thinks they cleared the Hoodie guy too soon. So, oh, you were talking to Parker. I was like, I had a cold a while ago. I wonder why he's asking. Well, good. I'm glad you're feeling better, Parker. You want to hear? Can I make an admission that I'm really embarrassed about? I used to call that stuff emergency, like emergency. I didn't realize that it's, when you say it all together, it's emergency. I thought it was like emergen, like the word was like emergen. And they were like, "You mean emergency?" I was like, "What are you talking about?" They're like, "That's what it says." I was like, "Oh my God, I'm such an idiot." That was such a, dumb moment for me. Oh, I'm warming this. Hold on a second. Yeah, so many false rumors going around. We only know about 5% of truth. And here's the thing is, like, if it doesn't come from Ellie, we still have to take it kind of like with a grain of salt. Like, for instance, Maddie and Kaylee could have had different injuries because if one fought back, then the guy might get more mad at that person for fighting back and kill them more harshly. So it might not mean like, oh, they were targeted. You know what I mean? It might not mean that. Just because their injuries were different does not mean that one was more specifically targeted than the other. It might just mean that they fought back and the guy got pissed off and, got more mad at that person. But the upstairs part, I personally think the person knows them all, or maybe from Maddie and Xana's job or something like that. Or maybe it was, if she said F you to this guy, maybe he was upset and pissed that she was like that to him. I don't know. But I mean, I can't say for sure. Ellie says he's not involved. I don't know what they know about it, why they think he's not involved. He's still on the website, so I don't know why people are saying that the police are backtracking that. But I do think maybe they should look more into him if they haven't heard this and they haven't realized that. But yeah, I think there's definitely a disconnect, Nathan, like between the police and the prosecutor and the FBI. Like, for some reason, it almost feels like they thought it was one thing, and then like it almost feels like the police thought it was one thing, and then the FBI came in and thought it was something else, and then they kind of backtracked. Like, that's what the vibe I get. Okay, sounds good, Paul. You have my emails. My emails on my channel about section. So, thank you, Paul. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was a well, that's another thing too. Like, I don't know if Kaylee's parents technically want to rush the investigation or if they just want more answers. But this is gonna take a while because this house literally was a party house, a revolving just door of people coming in and out. There's probably so much DNA that they have to sift through in there. I mean, I'm sure there's so many different DNA strands of different people in that house. I mean, And it's not a small town. It's a big town. It's a college town. This could be anyone. There's tons of people there. They probably know tons of people through parties, through this person. I mean, there's 4 victims, which means you have to look into each victims and all the people they all know. And that could go really far. You know what I mean? It's not like 1 or 2, it's 4. So you got to go through all 4 of those victims' phone like digital evidence. You have to go through you have to go through all of their lives with a fine-tooth comb, and that does not take 3 weeks. That takes months. I mean, first of all, it takes probably like 3 weeks alone just to get the search warrants for this stuff. I mean, these phone companies a lot of the times don't openly offer up this information. You have to get a warrant from a judge signed, which means you have to write up tons and tons of paperwork that you have to send out to these phone companies. Well, first you got to write up the paperwork, then you got to take it to the judge. The judge has to okay it. Then you have to serve these places. Then the places take all the good old time they need to pull up all the info for you, then give it to you. I mean, that stuff probably takes over 3 weeks alone. And these are 4 different people. So for anyone to feel like stuff is not being done, they're probably wrong. I mean, this, like, sometimes, they can take 6 weeks. Exactly. I mean, you don't get instant results. It doesn't happen. A lot of these cases with one victim take a year to solve. I mean, I feel bad for the parents, and I understand why they want answers, because I would be like that too, even knowing that that they can't give me the info. I would still want to know because it's my kid. So I can understand from both sides why, why Steve's mad, why Ellie is doing what they're doing. I get it from all sides. I saw I saw a little clip of his 3D model of the home, but I've seen one cell phone dump costs $15,000. That's crazy. Yeah, that's wild that one cell phone dump. I mean, it doesn't surprise me. And not only that, but police have a budget. And then, they put all this money immediately out there, and then they have to scale back a little bit and take their time a little bit and pick and choose what avenues they want to work down, because, they run out of money. So it's, I don't know, it's rough. All right, hold on. There's more to this. So I haven't seen this video yet, so I just want to see. Like, I've only seen the beginning.
Kaylee's sister, Olivia, be so intrigued by this comment?
So I guess someone on Facebook said, I read somewhere that JS, I only say his first name is Jack, but I mean, obviously he's been cleared by police. He might have a good alibi. I don't know. But someone said he may have gone overseas. Did anyone know anything about this? And Kaylee's sister commented and said, hi, can you share with me where you read this? So we know Kaylee's sister is looking into this a lot. Like, she's doing her own sleuthing.
She commented this yesterday. Today is December 3rd. JS refers to the hooded man in the video, the same person who is willing to post the following photos on social media and lived in the apartments next to the
I don't know if he definitely lived there. I've just heard that.
Knife type they are looking for, 2 of them in fact. He was also kicked out of his fraternity for anger issues and kicked out of the corner.
Oh. So it was in the news that he was kicked out of his fraternity. I didn't know that. Hey, Forever Trolling. I didn't know the news said he was kicked out of the fraternity. I mean, I wonder what the actual article, but that's interesting if they actually did look into that and see.
Club or being weird to girls. Pause to read. The term GeoSnap is a Snapchat setting that allows your location to be untraceable. His only alibi is that he took off to his parents' cabin 5 hours away. I believe the police say not believe to be involved at this time is to try to trick him.
What's up, it's Mel. Welcome back to the channel.
I don't know if that's true either, like if he actually went to his parents' cabin, but that is totally creepy. So apparently Steve Gonsalves is getting his own PI, which I'm not against this. I feel like a PI, so Pecan, the cops say that food truck guy is not involved, but the only reason that I'm showing this video is that in the beginning of this video, thanks, Paul. Holy water tonight. Thank you. I appreciate that. And yes, happy birthday, Lynn DS. Where are you, girl? I've been waiting for you to come in so I can say it. But it is Lynn DS's birthday, so when she gets in here, we need to wish her a happy birthday. I agree. I don't know. Yeah, I don't think any of that. I know it's not verified, but I was just saying in the video, you can hear, it sounds like Maddie is saying to the guy with the hoodie on that F you. Like she points at him, and it sounds pretty clear. Like she says F you, and then they walk away. Like she points at him too when she does it. So that's the only reason why I was playing it is if that is it you can hear it. I think she says it, and if she did say that, I mean, I think that's pretty interesting because it shows that, you know, there was some kind of conflict between them that night. But police are saying that they don't believe he's involved. So again, I don't know why they are saying it, if he has a, you know, solid alibi or whatever, but it does feel like, it does sound like she says F you, and she points at him as she does it too. She's like, F you. And she doesn't say it like she's laughing or anything. Like she says it like it sounds angry. It's at the beginning of this video. But I was other than that, I was saying how I think, you know, I understand why Steve Gonsalves is saying all this stuff, because he's angry and it's his child, and anyone, you know, you want answers about your child, but how it could hurt the investigation, because it's just so important that yeah, true, but at the same time it does show that there could have been you know, tension between them. And he, like, all right, so we have that guy who was with them like 2 hours before they're killed, and she's drunk, seen pointing at him saying F you. And if he does live across the street, and you know, all the stuff is speculation, obviously, but I've done that too when I was drunk, so it could be why, but that could also piss somebody off and make them angry. So I just think it's definitely interesting, though, if she was being like, if they didn't want him around and she was telling him F you and, like, you know, maybe get away from us. And I don't know where it was reported. Does anyone know if it was confirmed he was actually kicked out of the corner bar that night? I don't know if that was confirmed or not, but people are saying that he was kicked out of the corner bar. Ali hasn't said that, but I don't know if like the corner bar has said it to news or media or anything, but I've heard that. Yeah, I've told many people to fuck off when I was drunk, for sure, too. So yeah, he's been cleared. Well, not cleared, but they didn't use the word cleared. They said they don't believe he is involved at this time. But Steve Gonsalves, he is getting his own PI, which I don't think he technically needs one, but I don't think it, like, I think it could be helpful because I think there's a lot of people who yeah, no, I agree. I agree that he needs to keep quiet for sure because, like I said, that information is pertinent. Like, but at the same time, I understand like the frustration of your child being killed and you not knowing anything about it. It's your own child. You're gonna want to know answers. So I can kind of see on both sides, but I do think that the media needs to chill out and stop trying to like push him to say things. And I think he needs to just, I think he needs to be quiet and give them time because this stuff takes a while. I mean, like like I said, it probably takes 3 weeks alone just to get a warrant, all these warrants ready for these phones. I mean, this is 4 victims. It's not one. This shit takes time. Like you have to look into each victim's, tree, like web of people they know. I mean, normally it takes probably like sometimes up to a year just for one victim, and we have 4 here. So there's so much stuff they need to go through, and I think he wants results too fast, and it just doesn't work that way. But I do think the media is responsible for getting him upset and making him feel like things should be happening sooner when they're happening they are happening in a normal, timely manner, I guess. Like, it doesn't seem like things are taking a long time. It's only been 3 weeks. This stuff takes a while. But I do think that a PI might be helpful because I think there's a lot of people who don't trust law enforcement or they're afraid to talk to law enforcement because they're afraid they might get in trouble. So maybe like a PI going around and interviewing some people and getting some information might be helpful as long as Steve doesn't blurt this all out all over the media. Yeah, he's definitely, I mean, they're just talking to him way too much. Like they're just pressuring him to talk way too much, and he is vulnerable and grieving right now, and they're taking advantage of it, and he's frustrated because he wants answers about his child and he's not getting them. And I think part of why he's frustrated is because like he feels like they're finding out all right, for instance, his daughter found the video of the food truck, not the police, and she gave it to police. And then his daughter figured out that the timeline that Ethan and Xana's timeline was wrong. And then they backtracked and fixed the timeline. So I guess maybe they're getting frustrated because they feel like they're finding information out better than the police are. You know what I mean? And they're like, why? And then you have the prosecutor who is saying one thing and the police saying another. And here's what I think. I think the police probably felt, something happened. They go about it. Then the FBI comes in and they may have felt it happened differently. So they backtracked on a lot of stuff. And now this is getting frustrating for the Gonsalves because the Gonsalves have already found information they have not found. And they have already figured, like, they've gotten the timeline wrong. And the Gonsalves were the ones who got the timeline right. And then they backtracked and fixed the timeline. And then now the prosecutor's saying something different than the police and the FBI. Like, they keep backtracking stuff and changing stuff. And I feel like maybe they feel like they're not communicating right or something. Something is pissing them off. And Yeah, we don't know what they had, but they're saying, like, I'm saying they feel like they were giving this to police and police didn't have it. You know what I mean? And that well, police did say the timeline was different. They said it was like, I mean, it really wasn't that big of a deal. It was like 7-minute difference probably, but the police put out a different timeline and then they updated it later. But then when I think it was Brian did the interview with the prosecutor, he was saying different things than the police were, so it feels like they're not communicating. You know what I mean? Oh, I agree. I agree that it's normal. I'm just saying I think that's why they are acting the way they are. Like I think that's why he's like saying the things he is and like I guess accusing them of whatever. But I mean, I don't blame the cops. You have a bunch of stuff going on and there's so many things that, you know, God forbid they get 7 minutes off on the timeline. It's, you know. Oh, I don't think we're owed any facts either. I'm not saying they're owed any facts. I'm saying they think they are owed facts, but it's their own kid, so I understand why they feel like they are owed facts. I'm not talking about us. I'm talking about his family. Like, all right. He's not owed any facts either, and most people would understand to keep the investigation. But if it was your kid who was killed, people want to know, you know, what happened to their child. It's just, you know, that's just something that I feel like you can't help because it's your child, you know? So and I feel like the media isn't helping by making him feel that way, you know? The mom doesn't want to have a funeral until they arrest someone. She's fearful that the murderer will attend. Yeah, I mean, that might take a year, though. You know what I mean? That might take yeah, if I was a mother and father, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I know, like, I would know, like, yes, I need to keep this quiet and not say anything because I understand how true crime works. But at the same time, I would be frustrated because it's my child. You know what I mean? Like, you feel like you know, that's your right as a parent that you get answers. And if they know police know stuff and they're not telling you, and they shouldn't be telling him because he can't stop talking and he's being taken advantage of by the media, in my opinion. But you can't help but probably be frustrated. Like I would feel frustrated even knowing that you know, I'd have to keep quiet, I guess is what I'm saying, because it's my kid. You know what I mean? I just want, like, as a parent, you know, I want to, you know, I would want answers too. So it's a hard situation, I guess. I understand both sides, but I do think Steve needs to be quiet because it's not fair to, you know, the other victims who and their families want to keep quiet because, you know, they want this killer found and they don't want to impede on the investigation. And him saying these things just might impede on the investigation and make it harder for, you know, police. It's definitely not helping, you know, him talking. So, you know, I guess so. I'm kind of like in the middle. Like I understand from both sides, but I think the media is taking advantage of him and he's falling for it for sure. Like I wish, you know, one of them would have a brain and say, hey, you probably shouldn't be telling us this. And, you know, like, but of course they're going to eat it all up. So, Steve Gunn, where was I? So he's the grieving father of murdered University of Idaho student Kaylee Gonsalves is working with his own private investigators because he fears cops in the major case are too inexperienced. Which I don't think they're inexperienced. I mean, they haven't had a murder since 2015, so they probably don't get it a lot, but it doesn't mean they're inexperienced. It just takes time. Steve Gonsalves raised his fears Sunday in an exclusive interview with the Post, saying he was also concerned that one suspicious character had been ruled out too quickly, seemingly allowing him to flee the country without taking a DNA test. Now, I don't even think we know if he did take a DNA test or not, or where they got that from. But if the next part of the video was a barn burn, this video, were you talking about the guy who was talking about him? I think the guy who was like the FBI agent who was talking about him was a little too, like, saying that he sounds guilty and stuff, if that's what you're talking about. I think because of her funeral, like, maybe he had seen her body. I don't know. Because he said he's not leaking it. He paid for the funeral, so maybe he saw her body and that's where he's getting it from. But here's the thing. Her injuries might be worse because she might have fought back, which could have pissed the killer off, who could have, been more angry with her and got a little more intense with her. Doesn't mean that she was targeted because she had worse things. It could have mean it was just in the moment where, she got pissed off. Like, if somebody's fighting you, you're going to get more aggressive with somebody and probably, do worse things to them than the person who wasn't fighting back. Yeah, that guy was ridiculous. Like, I think that's a little too much saying that he might be the killer. Like, what motive does this dad have to come kill all these people? I don't see that. And I think the guy was being way too extra with that. And I understand the guy as former law enforcement being frustrated with how he's acting. I can get that, but like, he took it a little too far saying that he was the killer. But yeah, that was crazy. So anyway, but yeah, I don't know that necessarily means that she was targeted. And I think that's what people are trying to say. Like, oh, her injuries were worse or they were different. Maybe she was targeted. Maybe they're just different because she fought back. And maybe she was in a different position and, whatever. Like, we don't know. So apparently he lashed out at the lack of leads coming from cops who backtracked on claims that the killer appeared to be targeting at least one of the 4 roommates and have yet to even suggest a profile of the likely slasher. Though I don't understand why they don't want a reward. That is one thing that's confusing to me. Like, I feel like a reward might be helpful with college kids in a college town. You know what I mean? I feel like college kids might be more, you know what I mean? Like, more open to coming forward for a lot of money. So I don't understand. Yeah, the guy will fit right into the YouTube. That was crazy to me too, because I'm like, this guy, isn't he former law enforcement? I'm like, is this guy former law enforcement and he's saying this stuff? Like, chill out, bro. But like, a reward, why wouldn't they want a reward? I don't know why. And I wonder if it is because of the school. Hey, B. Tim. Like, I wonder if it is because of the school thing and that's why they don't want a reward, but I feel like a reward might be helpful. That's the only thing that I don't understand. Other than that, I understand why they don't want the family's help, because they don't want the family digging into stuff and releasing it. But the reward, I don't understand why. Unless they have a suspect, like somebody in mind, you know what I mean? They might have somebody in mind. So he lashed out at leads coming from cops who backtracked on claims that the killer appeared to be targeting at least one of the 4 roommates and have yet to even suggest a profile of the likely slasher. One of the murder squad officers is only 26, he complained, meaning he was only 19 when the sleepy city of Moscow last had a slaying in 2015. Oh, so what? It doesn't mean the guy doesn't have training, though. You know what I mean? They get trained for this. It's not like they just go in there blindly. And I'm sure there's other police on the murder squad besides that one guy. Yeah, but you don't, like, with a reward, they don't get the reward unless they have information that actually leads to finding the person. You know what I mean? I also once heard Dave Radar from Equisearch say he's never seen a reward be helpful in these cases. Well, thank you, Melena. Thank you. I'm so glad you had a good time on your vacation. Yeah, it's costing the town money for sure. I don't know. I guess I could see that, like a bunch people just start coming forward with all kinds of crazy tips, and it'll just be, a lot to sort through. But maybe one of those tips would be a good tip, like with Delphi. They had this tip. I mean, this blows my mind, right? They had Richard Allen at the place, like the only grown male there, described by people like he was on a mission, he was waiting. Someone saw him walking with bloody and muddy clothes. And then they interview him, and they don't look into him till now. I mean, I felt like they had information that he was like one of the only suspects there. That just really confused me. Is like, how did this guy go under the radar when you had so much seems like old information on him? They're blaming overlooking Allen because of clerk error. No friggin' way. I didn't know that. That's ridiculous. That's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, that was probably the best tip they had. I mean, they had like, this guy was here. He was on camera driving this way. He was parked here. He walked to the bridge. He was waiting at the bridge right before the girls come by. All these interviews. And he goes under the radar. That's ridiculous to me. I mean, they had so much information on him. Totally said clerk error. That's ridiculous. Yeah, they literally could have probably interviewed the man, exactly, B&B, and said, did you have a gun on you? Like, and he would have been like, oh yeah, it was loaded and everything. He literally gave them every bit. They asked him what he was wearing, and you know what he told them? A blue Carhartt jacket with a hoodie underneath, and I may have been wearing a headpiece and some loose-fitting jeans. I mean, literally the same exact outfit as Bridge Guy. Like, he literally told them I was wearing the same outfit that Bridge Guy had on. Like, come on. I don't know. That's just crazy to me. And so, I understand the stuff gets like lost in the sauce, but maybe it wouldn't hurt. I don't know. And I feel, yeah, if it was a clerk, that clerk should be fired. I mean, how do you I mean, they had all the, like, every piece of information they had literally pointed him in that direction. All right. So Steve says, so they're just inexperienced, and I don't want anyone making mistakes in my child's case. I don't know why he's saying this. He doesn't know this about them. I'll agree with this. He doesn't know if they're inexperienced or not. They went to they had training, Gonsalves told the Post. Also, blasting the officers is not exactly the most tech-savvy people. I mean, if there is a 26-year-old man in the murder squad, then that guy will be tech-savvy, believe me. As well as his own fears, Gonsalves said he started to work with private investigators because there were enough insiders telling us we should be concerned about the lack of any clear leads. Yeah, what insiders is what I want to know. Probably the media who wants an interview and get you all fired up. The lack of any clear leads in the November 13th murders of his 21-year-old daughter and her 3 friends. He doesn't know what the leads are, though. You know what I mean? So I've seen the diagram of the house and like how it goes up. It goes up like this and then this. Like one step goes up and then it turns and it's a landing and then it goes up again. Is there like a picture of it that had something on it or something? I talked to detectives, he said, making clear he was keeping away from internet sleuths whom he dismissed as Hollywood shit. What? What in the world? What are the private? He does say some strange things though. Like, what does that even mean? Hollywood shit. I don't know. One of the private detectives. Yeah, same, Parker. One of the private detectives I talked to is 50 years in the game. He said out of his outside help. I mean, I don't think it would be a bad idea to get a private detective as long as you don't go telling all the info that he's giving you. I mean, yeah, that's the house. I think I showed that in like the first video I did, Sarah, when we were trying to map out the house of the one where they're doing impressions of everybody, and you could see the stairwell where Madison goes up the stairwell. Yeah, it is. Some of the stuff he says is really strange, like the phrases he uses, like the alpha thing, where he's like, "You need to be an alpha," like saying somebody needs to step up and do something, like they're not. I don't know. I think a private. I mean, I'm not against a private detective because I think a lot of people will talk to a private detective that might not want to talk to the cops. You know what I mean? People get nervous, especially probably in college towns where you got all kinds of drugs and you're doing all kinds of stuff. Oh, they removed the Zillow listing? I didn't know that. But yeah, I pulled up a bunch of pictures from the Insta and their TikToks to try and get what the house looks like. That's right, Sarah. I think you were there, but you might have not been for like the whole thing because it was probably like a long one. We're trying to give them a benefit of the doubt, he said, of the police investigators. The grieving dad still hopes cops will be heroes and prove him wrong by ultimately emerging with breakthroughs that solve the case. Like, cops don't have to announce every breakthrough they have. Like, it's better to keep it quiet. I think he feels like they're not doing enough because they're not announcing everything they're doing, but that's typical. You're not really supposed to do that. So I'll apologize. I'll come out and say these guys had amazing DNA. Oh, he said something about the DNA, like the PI said that DNA isn't like the newer cops think DNA is like the latest and greatest thing or something. All right, hold on. I'll apologize. I'll come out and say these guys had amazing DNA or some evidence, and good for them. I was giving them shit, and I'll take it back. I'd love to be wrong, and we can get this guy. Gonsalves said he is only speaking out because of his alarm at the lack of leads, including the refusal to release an official profile, the likely slasher in November 13th attack. Yeah, but if they give a profile, then more people, like the killer, and they're right on about the profile, the killer might feel like they're onto him. I don't know. But it also would, I guess maybe they feel like the kids should know to be safe. I don't know. But who knows if a profile's accurate or not. That would give all these other girls that are walking around the community somebody to look out for, Gonsalves told the Post. I guess it says something about the hoodie-wearing man spotted lingering near his daughter and her best friend, Madison Mogan, and the pair and their two friends. He's out of the country. He didn't take a DNA test, he said. Now, I don't know if he took a DNA test or not. I don't know where he's getting that information, but I think it's somebody either like related to Maddie and Xana's job or just somebody like who some like that's the vibe I get. Like somebody who knew them all in the house was pissed, or I don't know. I think it might have something to do with Maddie and Xana's job, because for him to go kill Xana and Ethan, then go upstairs and kill them. In the dad's interview last night, he mentioned DNA and lineage, in which he was possibly referring to forensic genealogy. Also, Nancy Grace somehow knows that suspect DNA was not in CODIS. How would she know that? So they did find out about an incident with Kaylee that they think that's where the stalker thing came from, but they said the two guys they don't think are involved. All right, so that would give don't make more victims, he warned. He admitted that he also fears that the hoodie-wearing man spotted lingering near his daughter and her best friend, Madison Mogan, also 21. Oh, I read that right. Some people came to us and said that he's out of the country. He didn't take a DNA test. So who are those people? Like, is it just some random person, or is it like, how do they know? So we would like police, obviously it's not from police, because he's like, we would like police to tell us what his alibi was, he said, saying he would be able to move on if they could confirm that it's solid. Vague mismessaging on whether the killer likely targeted at least one of the 4 roommates and why could also lead to a dangerously false sense of security, he warned. I've heard people talk to reporters and say they'd be way more scared if he wasn't targeted, he noted. Some people think that means they, the victims, were gambling, or they were doing drugs, or they were doing something that really made them, the killer, come after him, he said, of the lack of info. My message is, I think having a couple of beers with your girlfriend, going home, texting, and crashing out in bed together, I think a lot of the girls did that, he said of his daughter, Maddie Mogan, who were sleeping in the same bed on the 3rd floor bedroom when they were killed. I think he should have not said they were sleeping in the same bed, because that is a big, I feel like that was a big piece of information that could have been held behind just in case. Because only the killer would have known that, you know? And a lot would be targeted if that's all they did. All right, hold on. I'm going to... So this is Brian Enton saying that Kaylee's injuries were more brutal. But again, like I said, what if Kaylee fought back? Then that would mean that her injuries were probably more brutal, because if somebody's all adrenaline up killing people and you try and fight back, he's going to get mad and be a little more, rough about it. So I don't even know how Brian Enton knows this, but I guess maybe from Kaylee's dad and Maddie's dad going back and forth and talking about what they know and what they've seen. But yeah, I assume that they were in the same bed too, Nathan. I always thought that. I do agree that they're clearing people too fast. I think so too. I'm getting nervous about that. I'm back. I don't know what happened. My power just like went off for a second. And then it came on and then it went off again. And then it came back on. Whew. Thank goodness. All right, I'm back. Sorry. I don't know what in the world. They must be like working on the power lines or something outside because it literally everything went off. It was strange. All right. Well, hopefully it doesn't act all. Thank you. Thank you. Is my background cute? So where was I going? Brian. So I don't know. I guess from we compared, with Maddie's family. But like I said, thanks, Thumb Doug. Everything went black. I was like, oh my god, what happened? Russians? Well, I hope not. It scared the crap out of me. I was like, did I not plug in my computer? But then I like looked around and realized everything was off. I was like, because of my yeah, right. Well, the weird thing was, it was like my back monitor. So I have 2 monitors in the back and then one little one in the front. And my 2 back monitors went out. And I was like, but my computer was still on, but I guess the internet went out. So I was like, am I still here? Hello? I didn't realize all the power went off. I don't know. I went on my phone to type and chat so I could tell you guys because I still had service there. All right, let me start where I was.
Details that we have just confirmed. News Nation is learning that Kaylee Gonzalez's injuries were significantly more brutal than her best friend Maddie's injuries, which may end up being a very, very important piece of evidence when it comes to determining who the target was in this attack.
So then
Now,
why are you
the police
sharing
have
it?
come out today with some significant clarifications or updates, and I believe this is in response to.
Oh, come on. Hold on. I hope I'm not getting kicked off again. All right, hold on. I'm going to look up the Moscow Police Department real quick, though. And look up the website and see what they said. All right, good. I'm still here. Hopefully I don't have any more issues, guys. I'm a little nervous. All right, so today... Oh, hold on. Let me pull StreamYard back over here. All right, so today they said there have been statements and speculation about this case, victim injuries, cause of death, evidence collection and processing, and investigative techniques. With the active criminal investigation, law enforcement has not released additional facts to the family or public. We recognize the frustration this causes and that speculation proliferates in the absence of facts. However, we firmly believe speculation and vetted information is a disservice to the victims, their families, and our community. The Moscow Police Department is committed to providing information whenever possible, but not at the expense of compromising the investigation and prosecution, which is smart. Yeah, all the stuff can hurt the case, especially at trial if they do get somebody, all kinds of stuff. Sarah, no, I don't. My light bill is fine. I need to pay the light bill. All right. Detectives continue investigating what occurred from approximately 9 p.m. on November 12th to 1:45 a.m. on November 13th. When Ethan Chapman and Xana Kernodle were believed to be at Sigma Chi House on the university campus at 735 Nez Perce Drive. Any interactions, context, direction, and method of travel or anything abnormal could add context to what occurred. So I wonder why they're pointing that out. Like, I wonder if there is something that happened that is strange. Yeah, my light bill came back on. I think they're I think they're messing with the stuff on the street, to be honest. I don't know. It was strange. It went on and then off and then on. It was like, all right. Detectives continue processing and working through more than 2,645 email tips, 2,770 phone tips, and 1,084 digital media submissions. We believe someone has information that will add context to the picture investigators are creating of what occurred that evening. Our focus is the investigation, not the activities. What does that mean? Your information, whether you believe it's significant or not, might be one of the puzzle pieces that helps solve these murders. Using tips and leads, investigators have identified an incident involving Kaylee at a local business, which may have been the stalker reference she made to friends and family. In mid-October, two males were seen inside a local business. They parted ways. One male appeared to follow Kaylee inside the business, and as she exited and walked toward the car, the male turned away, and it did not appear he made contact with her. Detectives contacted both males and learned the two were attempting to meet women at the business. This was corroborated through additional investigation. Based on available information, detectives believe this was an isolated incident and not an ongoing pattern of stalking. No evidence suggests the two males were involved in the murders. So did they think she was somebody else they were supposed to meet? Yeah, it might be, but it was like the whole house. Like, it wouldn't have, like, if it was one of the lights, I have them on special time smart, what's it called? You know what I mean? The smart plug. So if they caused the short in it, the smart plugs would go out, not my whole electrical panel. So yeah, Dave probably blew everything out with his gaming. No, he was sleeping and he woke up confused, like, what the hell happened? He thought I had an air fryer on. I'm like, I'm live. Why would the air fryer be on? Anyway, they have been numerous requests about the dog found at the residence in the morning of November 13th. Arriving officers entered the residence and found the deceased victims. During the search of the home, a dog was found in a room where the crimes had not been committed. This sounds like to me that the killer put the dog in that room. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no way Kaylee locked her dog in a room by himself. I guarantee the killer put him in there before he did anything to them. Which makes me wonder, did he go up there first and get the dog? So, Xana and Ethan were found on the second floor, and Kaylee and Maddie were in bed in the same room on the third floor. So, the one bedroom, it's weird though, because if the killer came in through the kitchen, he would have to go out of his way to get to Xana and Ethan's room. And if he just wanted to go upstairs, he would just have to go out the kitchen right up the stairs to their room. But it almost sounds like to me that he may have gone upstairs first. Because if it sounds to me like he may have put that dog in that separate room so the dog wouldn't bother him. But if he put the dog in the room, he would have had to go upstairs first, get the dog, put the dog away, kill them, then go downstairs and kill Xana and Ethan. What if he was waiting with the dog when they got home and Kaylee and Maddie were trying to see if Jack had... Well, so I don't think so, because I feel like the sister released that they sent a text to Jack saying, please, Jack, come over. He did say, like, she said something like, oh, come on, we have a dog together. But it almost sounded like she was using that info to, like, convince him to come over. She's like, oh, come on, we have a dog together, Jack. Just come over. Like, she was just begging him to come over. So I don't know. They didn't say anything like she was asking him where the dog was. She was saying she was using the dog, like saying, oh, we have a dog. Ow, that hurt. my funny bone. She was using the dog as like, please come over. We have a dog together. Sorry, hold on. I'm hot. Oh. But now that makes, if they didn't find, all right, so here's the thing. If the dog is out loose, the texts weren't released. She vocalized what the text said, I believe. She didn't actually release the text. She said them out loud. She said she like went into her phone records and she read the text, and the text said, why wouldn't the killer put a dog in a room? That, I mean, if the dog was out of the room, the dog would like bark and jump all over him. It sound like, I think if he went in, I highly doubt Kaylee would have put her dog in the room by himself. So I'm thinking that maybe the killer didn't want the dog jumping all over him, especially if there's blood, going to be blood everywhere, and he knows he's going to stab him. I would, if I were a killer and they were all sleeping and there's a dog in the house, my first idea would be to put the dog away. I mean, that's what they did in the I believe they did something similar in the Pike County massacre. They let the dogs outside. Yeah, it is a sliver of comfort, but I mean, honestly, yeah, it would jump all over them and get. So I think the killer went in, got the dog, put the dog away, killed Maddie and Kaylee first, then Ethan and Xana. Because if he killed Ethan and Xana first, he would have blood all over him, then have to put the dog away, and obviously stuff would get on the dog, so he'd have to go get the dog. Yeah, I think the dog was probably with Maddie and Kaylee at first, or just had a run of the house, maybe just sleeping wherever, and then he probably got the dog and put it in the room so it didn't jump all over them and then killed him. But that makes me think then that now that's confusing to me, because now I think that Kaylee and Maddie would have been his first victims, and then Ethan and Xana were after. I mean, he's definitely says some weird stuff, but I don't think the dad is a killer. Like, the dad, there's no really motive for the dad to do anything. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think he put the dog in another room so the dog wouldn't wake anybody up, or the dog wouldn't alert anybody, because obviously if he woke the dog up, the dog's going to jump on the bed, wake Kaylee up, wake Maddie up. You know what I mean? So maybe his first thought was, let me get this dog away so, it doesn't cause me any problems, and then I'll do what I got to do. Maybe the roommates brought the dog. It says a dog was found in a room where the crimes had not been committed. I don't know. It's either the roommates had him, or I don't know. Yeah, I mean, the dog wasn't some vicious like dog, Probably the dog's probably one of those dogs that gets excited to see anybody. He doesn't seem like he was some like, dog who would attack or anything. While the dog was in the house when officers arrived, it has not been determined where the dog was physically located when the murders took place. At this time, no suspect has been identified, and only vetted information that does not hinder the investigation will be released to the public. There's no speculation without factual backing, stoking community fears, and spreading false information. We encourage referencing official releases for accurate information and update progress. All right, wrong one. Where did I just want to go.
The father.
Oh, this guy.
Autopsy results are already out. The father of one of those students says the points of damage don't match. What does he mean by this, you think?
Well, to tell you the truth, I don't know what this guy means. I'm going to take a little bit of a turn on this because this individual, Steven Gonzalez, I always butcher his last name, He's doing an interview. It seems like every 4 to 8 hours, and many of these different news agencies are putting what he has to say all over the airwaves, and they're not looking at the totality of the things that this guy says. He himself, not law enforcement, he says conflicting things constantly, and he says things that are very odd over and over again. I've worked a lot of different cases. I spoke to a lot of different law enforcement. In fact,
I think what he said, like, I agree with him that Steve says some weird stuff, but Steve talks in, like, you know what I mean? Like, he talks in, like, riddles because he doesn't want to give information. And I think he says certain things because in his, like, there's certain things going on that he can't, like, he doesn't want to say completely. So he says, like, half-ass stuff. And I think it sounds weird. And I think some of the stuff is plain old weird what he says, but I don't think he's involved in any way. I just think he's all over the place right now. And I think just shit is just coming out that wouldn't normally come out. I don't know. Like, I think what he says is definitely some weird stuff, but. And I think, I mean, there might be shoe prints because they said he left a mess. I mean, they haven't really confirmed or denied if there was any shoe prints or whatever, but they have said that he has left a whole ass mess. So.
in fact, one police officer who was a mayor of a town in Springfield, and a 20-year police officer reached out to me yesterday and said he's never seen anyone that seemed like they have committed a homicide more than Mr. Gonsalves. Now that's something when we're looking at his statements that he is consistently making to the media.
Wow. That's
Is this guy prior law enforcement? Like, I just think this guy's crazy. Like, coming out with this information, like, no, come on, dude. Like, if I hope he's not proper law. Like, oh yeah, maybe leaving the house. Maybe Paul G, like, getting out of the house. He could have, or took his shoes off or something. And guys, this is Ikmel. He does a good job covering this case. I wanted to play the video with the FU thing, and he just has everything in this video. So I was like, you know what? Let me just play the whole thing. But that's the link for this video, and he's been covering this case really well. So definitely check him out when this is over if you haven't.
it's crazy to I don't know.
And the media is overlooking the fact that he is saying things, and I have some of the things that he says right here. He says that nobody in the room, that it was fast and nobody suffered. Right?
Yeah.
Yo, I literally had a conversation with Silvio about that.
I mean, he probably had. I mean, I think somebody would say that in hopes that was the case. You know what I mean? Like, or maybe they know from the medical examiner that they weren't alive very long or something like that, or that they were hit in a main area and they died real quick. Like, there could be a reason why he's saying that, because he knows a little more. I mean, I don't think he's saying it because he murdered them and he knows how long they were alive. You know, I think he's saying it because he knows, you know, they were stabbed in the heart or stabbed in the lungs or something. Sorry, I should have gave a trigger warning, but the dad is not sus, Circle Box. You always think there's like a parent involved. He's not sus. He's just a little strange. You know what I mean? He's got a lot going on. Why would the dad have any reason to kill his daughter there's no motive there. There's literally no motive. Why would the dad do that? This guy's crazy. There's nothing sus about that. If he knows that his kid was stabbed in the heart or in the lungs or something, he would know that it went fast. So that's probably why he's saying it's not suspect. He's not involved.
Literally,
I mean, if there was motive, I could go down that road, but there's not motive for me. You know what I mean? There's no motive for her dad to kill all of them.
He was literally like,
he's not making it seem like he was at the house. He was just saying that it happened fast. How does that make him seem like he was at the house. If he said it happened fast, it could be because he knows how she died. If she was stabbed in the heart or the chest, she would die fast. I mean, it doesn't make him seem like he was at the house. It just makes it seem like he knows more info than we do. He's her dad. I mean, I'm sure he knows, info about some more info than we do. You know what I mean? He shouldn't be saying things, though, but he's saying stuff because he's probably being told by media, hey, he's getting all fired up by the media, and then he's just spilling all kinds of beans that he shouldn't say. Yeah, I'm sure he knows it was fast by law enforcement or the medical examiner or somebody telling him that. It's not a good look for sure because he shouldn't be sharing the information. And he does say some odd things, but I think it's more so because he knows more information and he can only say so much stuff. So he blurts out these weird riddles because he's trying to hold back from saying it, but he wants to say it. And I think that's where the stuff is coming from. Like, it's like, oh, I want to release this information, but I don't want to say the whole thing. So I'm going to say it in some weird riddle, or because I think this guy is just being way too extra who's saying that he's involved. There's no motive. There's no reason for him to, be involved.
Sylvia was like telling me like,
how would he know that? Like, how would he know something like that?
There's been no report on them. He's also said that he's just going to say it. This is a quote from Kaylee's dad. I'm just going to say it. It was leaked to me. I earned that. I paid for that funeral. I sent my daughter to college. She came back in a box. He went to the.
He got that wrong too. He said it wasn't leaked to me. I earned that. I paid for that. So he was saying, like, you didn't leak this to me. I know this information because I seen it for myself. I paid for her funeral. I earned that. Now, why I don't agree with that, like, I think he shouldn't have said any of this stuff. He's saying, I know this information because I seen it for myself. And plus, I'm sure he compared that information with what he knew with Maddie's family, and that's how they came to that conclusion. So he's saying is they didn't leak this info to me. I know it myself because of the funeral. I did it, Yeah, I think the dad just wants info. He's being a little pushy with it, and he shouldn't be saying all the things that he is because it could impede on the investigation. But I think he's saying it because he's frustrated and he's angry, and it's coming out in all these weird ways that it shouldn't.
When they had their service for all the four slain and made jokes and talked about the lighting. I mean, this individual is bothering me and many people very much. And if it,
I mean, the lighting
Who
thing.
is the guy? Like, who is this guy? Is he former LA or something? Like, what? I think he's just like going way too far with this. But the light thing, I think that was just a joke because he was nervous and he was trying to be like, I don't know, some comic relief for the situation. Like I don't know. It was a strange thing to say, like in front of everybody, like make a joke about the lights. But I think a lot of people make a lot of dumb jokes when they feel nervous and they're standing in front of like 10,000 people, I don't know how many people are there. I'm just saying, for instance. Yeah. I think he's just acting out because he wants answers and he's frustrated and it's coming out weird for sure.
I mean, it's a tense thing, nervous. I mean, I don't know. I didn't take it like that.
Exactly.
I think even the other parents had made some type of like to try to lighten the mood type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
At the very least, he is causing law enforcement
more
problems, I think, than anything.
I agree he's hurting the case. I agree. But I think the media is taking advantage of him too. Like they keep trying to get interviews with him and keep probably hyping him up, putting a microphone in front of his face, and then he just says too much. And I think the media needs to be more responsible and leave this man alone because he keeps releasing. I mean, can you imagine like your kid dying and then you have all these media people telling you like, oh yeah, they're taking too long, and you don't know any of how this stuff works. You know what I mean? And then you got these news people who are trying to like make you feel like there's something more than there's not, you know? Yeah, I think so too, follow the grain in your own way, but I don't necessarily think that maybe his daughter was the target. I think maybe it was just a lot worse for her because she tried to fight back or something. You know what I mean? Like, we don't know who had defensive wounds. We don't know any of that. So maybe her wounds were worse than Maddie's because she tried to fight back, and then you know, they got mad and were more brutal towards her. But I think he thinks that his daughter was the target and he wants him to focus more on that. But they might think that, hey, this could just be, you know, like what I'm saying. So, but yeah, I do think he could be hurting the investigation. Well, for sure hurting the investigation for saying things. Oh, the police are definitely not going to give him info now that he keeps putting it out there, because they're going to be afraid that he's going to put more info out there. So he's kind of like kicking himself in the ass by doing this. But I think, like I said, I think he's being taken advantage of by the media. And I think they're trying to convince him that, like, I think they're probably making him feel like something is wrong when this stuff takes time and this stuff takes money, and there's 4 victims and you got to look into each web of, you know, this fraternity and this sorority and this person's friend and this person's friend and ex-boyfriends and all that stuff. Each of the 4 victims probably know so many people between all 4 of them, and they got to look through all their digital evidence. They got to type up warrants for each one of them. A judge has to sign off on it. Then they got to give it to the phone company. And then the phone company has to approve it, because phone companies don't just give out that info. You have to get warrants for it. Then they have to get warrants for each thing. Snapchat, the phone, Instagram, whatever. You know, it takes a lot of time, and you have to wait for it. You know, you can't do it on the weekend because the judge isn't there, and there's just a lot that goes into it, and it's time consuming. Yeah, exactly, Pecan. There's 3 other families that are following the rules, and he's not following the rules, and he could be damaging the case by putting this info out. I think he meant, like, I think Steve is trying to say that Kaylee was the target, saying, like, he didn't have to go up them steps, but he did. So there's a reason why he went up them steps. I think he keeps trying to say, like my daughter was the target, but we don't know that. The whole house could be the target. I think that's where he's going with it. Yeah, the dad is not happy with the go-between person he is either. Yeah, I can't even imagine either, Parker. It's probably crazy. Like, I mean, can you imagine waking up to that? I mean, I feel like thankfully they were asleep. So, like, maybe it wasn't as bad because it probably took them a minute to figure out what was going on, and hopefully it was really fast and they didn't even know, but, you know. I don't think he's talking like he was in the house. I think he's just talking like he knows more information than we do, which he would. He's her dad. You know, like, obviously he has more information than we do. Hey, all-rounder Nana. Hello. Like, I think it's pretty clear he knows more information than we do. He's her dad. I'm sure, you know, he's seen her body. He's probably had to identify her. He's probably had her body sent to the funeral home. He's probably looked at it. He probably talked to the medical examiner. He probably or has gotten reports from the medical examiner. He probably knows how fast she was killed and how fast from when the killer got there to when she actually died. He probably knows that information, you know. I didn't hear him say anything about knowing the movements of the killer. All he said was that he knew that he said he didn't have to go upstairs, meaning he killed people on the first floor and then he killed people on the second floor. Everybody knows that. it's not a secret. So he's saying he didn't have to go upstairs, meaning if he killed the people downstairs and they were the target, he didn't have to go upstairs. I know, but I'm telling you that his words aren't sus, Circle Box. Everybody knows where the killer went. Everyone knows that the people were killed downstairs and upstairs. So him saying that the killer didn't have to go upstairs doesn't sound like he was in the house. It just sounds like he knows that the killer went upstairs and killed his daughter. That's all. Like, him saying the killer didn't have to go upstairs, he means is that he feels like his daughter was targeted because the killer went upstairs when if they were just there for Ethan and Xana, like I think he feels like maybe they're focused on Ethan and Xana's whereabouts that night too much. And that's why he's saying the killer didn't have to go upstairs. So he's saying if they came in for Ethan and Xana, they didn't have to go upstairs and kill Maddie and Kaylee. So he's trying to say that he feels like the killer is targeting Maddie and Kaylee. That's the point he's trying to make. That doesn't sound sus. That's just something everybody knows. You know what I mean? And Xana's dad was the one who changed the locks. I mean, I think this guy, I don't think a lot of people in the public think he's sus. I think maybe this guy, and I haven't heard anyone else say that they think he's sus besides you and this guy on here. But like, I think that the information that he's saying is stuff that he knows and everybody knows. You know what I mean? I don't know why the other dad changed the locks, but I know Xana's dad changed the locks. The roommates, if Ellie says that he don't think they're involved, then they have a reason for that, I guess. I don't know. I don't really have a reason to think they're suspect yet. Like, if I don't think it's weird that they didn't hear anything. The house is set up weird, and their house is a party house. So like, if they did hear something, they probably wrote it off as a party. Like, if you've ever been to a college town, it's ridiculous. People just walk in the house you don't even know. I mean, your roommates will be having parties at 3:00 in the morning while you're sleeping, and random people will just drunkenly walk in your room and start hanging out with you, even though you're going to sleep. Like, there's no privacy in having a party house at a college. Like, when I went to visit my son's uncle's house, people walked in they didn't even know, would just get drunk, drink their beer, walk in rooms. They didn't even know whose house they were at. So if they did hear sounds, they probably thought it was a party, and there probably wasn't too many sounds because they were asleep when it happened. Why would he push Ellie to find a killer if he did it? Yeah, exactly. Why would he be pushing Ellie and saying all this stuff if he was the killer? I don't find him sus at all. I think he just knows information. And hey, Punk Cat. Hey, Sabrina. I think he just, I think he's angry because the cops seem like they're focusing a lot on Xana and Ethan, and he doesn't believe that's the case. He thinks that Kaylee and Maddie were targeted because the killer went upstairs when he didn't have to, because clearly you can see the cops are saying that they're trying to, map out Xana and Ethan's whereabouts that night and stuff like that. So I think he's getting frustrated. He's bashing LE because they're not giving him answers about his kid, which I don't agree with. He needs to just chill out, but he's angry. His kid was just murdered. And a lot of people don't understand how law enforcement works, and that it takes time, and that, imagine your kid getting brutally murdered, and then someone telling you, even though you know that you shouldn't have that information, but imagine someone telling you, I can't tell you what happened to your kid. I'm not allowed to release that information. It feels personal to people because it's your child. You feel like you're entitled to that information. For someone to tell you you can't know what happened to your kid can be very frustrating for some people. That's why he's attacking LE, because And I think he feels like they're not focusing on his own daughter and they're focusing on other things. And he feels like his daughter was targeted. That's why he's acting that way. He doesn't like, and I'm sure that the media is hyping his ass up for sure. Yeah, it's not, this isn't like, what's that, like those crime shows where it gets solved in like, 7 hours time frame, you know what I mean? Like this stuff takes time and a lot of people have a false sense of how things go and that it should be solved very quickly and that they should be getting updates when you don't, and then it gets frustrating when you don't get updates. You know what I mean? I mean, I haven't really been looking at the comments about the dad. I just think that it's far reaching to say that the dad is you know, I think it's far reaching to say that the dad is involved or why, like there's no motive. If there was motive or a reason for me to think that, I just think he knows more information, that's all. I've watched all his interviews and I don't think like I said, I think it's exactly, I think he wants to say things and he wants to put it out there and he wants Ellie to focus on his kid. And I think he's frustrated he's not getting answers. And I think he feels like he's entitled to it. And, he's acting out because of it. And he's not entitled to anything. And all the other victims' families are trying to be quiet and whatever. And I think, he's just being a little like, impatient and critical. So then what are you saying? I mean, yeah, he needs to stay off the news. I completely agree with that. He's hurting the investigation. I 100% agree with that. And I think he needs to stay the fuck off the news for sure. I agree with you there 100%. I think everything he's saying, all this stuff is important information that should be held close to the chest in case, the killer mentions one little thing like, oh yeah, the dog was in Maddie's room, locked in Maddie's room, right? Nobody else would know that, but like, the killer or something. And then the cops would know that's the killer. But if the dad's out there just telling everybody all this information, then he's impeding on the investigation because that information should be kept secret in case, or like a lot of times, and police will say this, these crazy people come forward and say they did it and they didn't do it. They'll have some mental health issues and they'll say they did it and then they question them all the details and the person will have the details all wrong. Surprisingly, this happens all the time. You'll get like 5 or 6 people every case who insert themselves and say they did it, involved, no idea why, but then they'll question them on these yeah, no, I agree that his interviews are getting to be too much, but I don't think he's suspect, and I don't think he's making it seem like he was at the house at all. I think he was just saying like him saying, "Why did the killer go upstairs?" How does that make it seem like he was at the house? Everybody knows that the killer went upstairs. You know what I'm saying? Like, how does that make him seem like he was at the house by saying the killer didn't have to go upstairs? The killer didn't. I mean, if I think he thinks that the cops are focused on Ethan and Xana, and he's saying, well, if they were focused on Ethan and Xana, he didn't have to go upstairs. That's all. So I don't think he sounds like he was in the house or anything. He's just saying what everybody knows already. That, maybe his daughter and Maddie were the targets because if Xana and Ethan were, the killer did not have to go upstairs. Well, I think a lot of people are assuming that it is a he. I'm assuming that it's a he because, like statistically, I mean, it could be a girl for sure. Like, I'm not saying that it's not, but when I speak on the killer, I usually say he because, personally, statistically wise, whatever, I think I lean more on the side that it's a male. So when I speak about the killer, I tend to refer to the killer as a he. So it doesn't shock me that he's referring to the killer as a he as well. Like, I think a lot of people are referring to the killer as a he. And I'm not saying that the killer couldn't be a female, because it totally could. I just think statistically is more likely to be a male. I think he's talking about the killer is he. Is what he's talking about. Either that or the police. I mean, I think you're just looking way too far into it, Circle Box. Like, I think you're like, trying to look too much into it than it is. Yeah, I think he's trying to make sense of his daughter's final moments too. And I think, like I said, I think he's frustrated because I think he thinks the cops are leaning in the direction of Xana and Ethan, and he's saying there's no way, because if he went in there to kill Xana and Ethan, why did he go upstairs? He didn't have to. There's no, and I think, he probably thinks that because the cops are making it a point to say that they're trying to track those final. I don't get what you're saying by asking who the he is. What do you mean? Like, it sounds like there's zero evidence to support this opinion at this time, but in my opinion, it's possible there's more. Oh, I think it could be more than one killer. If they said that the wounds didn't match, then there could be, and it definitely could have been a female. I just tend to think is more likely a male because, like, don't get me wrong, I know there's lots of females who have K-bar knives, but I just feel like statistically more men would have that stuff or have it on them. And yeah, I think a lot of people are referring to the killer as a he. I think it's just, like, it seems more to more people that it would be a he. But I mean, I'm not discounting that it could be a female or that it could be two people or whatever. I just tend to think it's more likely a he.
Anything else?
And I've had this conversation with friends too. I definitely don't think cops are happy with him, for sure. Like, they're probably, and I think that's why that police release came out today.
Yeah, again, it's definitely confusing. I've heard him on these interviews say those things. Jonathan had read that. You wonder if he's a parent and grieving, if that's what he's going through. But definitely interesting. He also said something that caught my eye, that the killer chose to go upstairs. So want to remind our viewers of the home. So it's a 3-level home. The main entrance is actually like the basement area, and then you go up the second floor. That's where a couple of the bedrooms were, and then you go to the third floor where there were other bedrooms. So he's saying, this father, that the killer went up that second floor and went through the sliding glass door. Have you heard any police reports saying that that was how the killer entered the home?
We've heard no definitive police reports that say that, although I do believe that is correct. I think when you look at the two individuals, the two females that were in the first floor, and that first floor opens up into a common living room type space. I guess there's bedrooms there, and those go upstairs. It's almost like a second apartment.
Yeah.
And the second floor has its own main area, and then there's the third floor. This Mr. Gonsalves, he continues to push out their details about this crime that nobody really knows about. We do know that people were killed on the second and the third floor. I personally have never heard any reports where they were saying that that there was different types of attacks and ferocity amongst the different victims. The only person that said that is this same individual, and in the way.
Well, the coroner did say that they each had multiple stab wounds and some had defensive wounds. So, I mean, they didn't say it exactly like that, but he also said, I paid for the funeral, so I'm assuming that he probably saw his daughter's body, and Madison's family probably saw her body, and that's where he comes up with this. Hey, Lynn, happy birthday, girl. I was waiting for you to come in here. It's Lynn's birthday, everybody. Yeah, for all anyone knows, the killer could have went in the ground level. It does seem like they think he came through the glass door based on, well, based on them, like, you can see they were dusting the window and dusting the glass sliding door and things like that. So I think they believe that was the point of entry, but for all we know, he could have went in the basement door for sure. But it does seem like they were focusing on that point of entry, but they might have been focusing on every point of entry, and we just saw pictures of them focus on that point of entry. So happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Lynn. Yeah, I've heard the slider was left open too. But that means that they went out that way. Happy birthday to you. But yeah, that means that he left in that way. Birthday girl in the house. Birthday girl in the house. But it did seem like they were focusing a lot on that window out there too. So all right, let me finish this.
Way that he talks about how his daughter and the other girl that was with her were sleeping in the same bed. That information was not released until he said it.
Back to today's updates. And so one of the things they said here.
Yeah, but I mean, that could have came from police and told him they were in the same bed together. I mean, he's the father. He probably knows a lot more info than we do. And he probably got a lot of info in the beginning. And then once he started talking, they're like, we're not going to share anything else with him. But I'm sure he knew that they were in the same bed. Or if, for instance, Madison's boyfriend showed up when they called 911. Or somebody that knew them, or they may have talked to the roommates, and the roommates may have told them, hey, they were in the same bed. You know what I'm saying? Like, he might have that info personally. I'm sure he knows that from people in the house. You get what I'm saying? Am I making sense here? He might know that info because people were there, or the cops told him. Doesn't mean he was in the house. I get that it sounds that way, but I think that guy's being a little extra by trying to pinpoint that he was at the house or know these things when this information. I was wondering that too, Pecan, and it seemed like I don't know if where was she? Is her family well off, or does she have a good job? Where is she? Range Rovers are expensive as shit. Even old ones are expensive. I was wondering that too. Where did the Range Rover come from? And I don't want to just make things up or say things, but it's not uncommon anymore for pretty girls that age to, make OnlyFans, or, what if there's something like that? And I'm not trying to victim blame or say that's what she was doing. I'm just saying there's definitely, you could look into that angle because it's very common nowadays. I think there were statistics about college kids and sugar daddies and stuff like that. And a lot of college girls go that route to make money. You wouldn't believe the percentage at colleges they looked into of how many did that. And like I said, I'm not trying to victim blame or anything like that. I'm just saying that that's definitely an angle that I think could be looked down. Yeah, that was the reason why she went back to the house, to show it to Maddie. Yep. That she had already been moved out because she was moving to Texas, I think, for she got a internship somewhere. So, but I mean, what if, she did have some kind of like someone who thought, remember that one girl who was very young, who was doing something similar, and that guy was seeing a lot of girls, but was particularly obsessed with her, and he put a tracker on her car, and when he found out that she was going to other men's houses, he stabbed her to death. She was really young too. Now, like, what if it's a situation like that where somebody became upset, like was paying for all her things and became obsessed with her, and she was about to leave or something of that nature? I think it could be, what's with the Cougar Week? What's that? I don't know what the Cougar Week is, but I feel like that would be like an important angle to look into, and I'm sure they're going to pull out all of her digital information and would find that. But I mean, that could definitely be a possibility. I mean, like, I don't know her family's money situation. Like, I don't know if she had a really well-paying job. You know what I mean? I don't know, but it's just an idea. Oh no, I ran out. They went after older men. Is that what it said? Did they have a Cougar Week? Like what? Like they had like a week where they did that? I've never heard of that. Oh, that's still... I'm trying to see if there's anything. Okay.
It has not been determined where
I'm going to give his channel link to if anyone wants to subscribe to ICMIL. Well, that's interesting. I didn't know that. Yeah, there was a keypad on that house. So here's what I wonder. Like, I wonder if it was one of those keypads, those like automatic locks where you type in the number and it unlocks the doorknob. Was it one of them, or was it like an ADT keypad that when you opened a door, it had one of those magnet alarms that went off? That's what I'm saying. Like, I'd really love to know if it was just one of those like buttons for the doorknob lock, or an actual security system. Because that's the case, then the killer would have to know what point of entry would not have one of those magnetic devices or whatever, Yeah, I heard Santa's dad changed the locks a week before the murders. But they could have left the sliding door unlocked. I mean, but it is kind of strange. Why did he change the locks? Like, oh, send me the link for the article. Or you could... I wonder if you posted in chat if it'll come up as a link for me. Ugh, I'm getting tired. Have you guys... Well, not to change the subject, but real quick. Have you guys watched The Killing Field yet? That's really good. And Tim Miller from Equisearch is in it. I was really interested in that. It was a really good documentary. I haven't finished it, but I'm like a little bit in. It's really good so far. Just a FYI, if anyone wants a good crime doc to watch, that's a good one. Hold on, let me look up. I'll look up the locks. Why would Xana's dad change the locks though? Like, for what reason? Was there like... Okay, here we go. I have the article. Xana Carnota's father had visited. Why is all this stuff? All right. And fixed a lock on the house during a visit the first week of November, her mom, Cara Denise Northington, told News Nation on Friday. The distraught mother wasn't sure whether the updated lock was on the Moscow's home front door or on Carnota's bedroom. Each of the six bedrooms has its own coded lock, but was certain Carnota's father had tinkered with one just before. So each door has a coded lock? So I guess probably so that when they leave, I mean, that makes sense. I mean, can you imagine if you have a party house and you leave and then somebody comes over while you're gone and they go in your bedroom and steal your shit? Like, they probably have a coded lock so when they leave, they can lock their bedroom doors. But I don't necessarily know if it's like used for when they go to sleep at night and they're in their own room. He fixed the lock so it was working correctly, or was it? The locks may be a clue as to who the killer could be. I think they knew them, Northington said of the daughter's killer. I think they may have been friends with them. I think it had to have been somebody close to them. But you get what I'm saying? Like, if they had their own lock on the door, that's something that you fix from the out. Like, I doubt they would have thought to lock their door before they go to sleep. It seems like more of a thing to do when you're away and you don't want anyone to go in your room. Like, when you're sleeping in there, who would think to lock it? I don't know. They might. I mean, maybe the two downstairs girls thought to do that because they didn't want anyone to come bother them. The code will tell Ellie when it was open and closed. I hope so. I don't know. It sounds like it just says that Carnota's father had visited and fixed a lock on the house. He fixed it, yeah, on the house. She said she doesn't know if it was to her own specific bedroom or for the house, but she knows that he fixed one for her. I wonder if I can get a close-up picture of that door now. I learned more on the news and TV than they have said to me, Northington said. I think they have information they're not giving us, and it's real fishy. That's what I would say. Gonsalves' family also complained to News Nation Friday that police were not being forthcoming with the families of the victims. Gonsalves' mother raised concern that officials are clearing people connected to the killings too quickly. That's the only thing I'll agree with. I agree with that too. I feel like how are they quickly saying these people aren't involved like so quickly? I mean, they might have a solid alibi, but it does feel quick. A few of the names that may have been circling around, I think it's hard not to dig into this, and I don't know how much of that is we have so little information from law enforcement and how much of it is really a sister or a father's intuition, said Olivier Gonsalves. I just feel like there's been a couple individuals that were cleared very fast that maybe should have not been. Police have said they cleared several people, including a person who made the 911 call, 2 roommates who lived in the house but were unharmed, and another whose name is on the lease. Did you leave, Lynn? Are you still here, girl? Oh, there she is. She's still here. Oh. Well, I think I'm going to end it because I am getting tired. And it's been over 2 hours. But let me just say again, happy birthday, Lynn. We love you. And I hope you had a lovely birthday. And it was everything you ever dreamed of. Make sure y'all wish, I know y'all wish Lindy a happy birthday already. And I put up a community post too, so go shout her out over there. All right, everyone. Well, I'll be back Wednesday. So my streams will probably be like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. Me and Dave are trying to split it up because we can't do it at the same time. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Paul. Thanks, Sabrina. I know I keep forgetting about the Casey Anthony thing. Somebody remind me. We can watch it, I promise. I just keep forgetting. Somebody remind me in Discord tomorrow. Oh yeah, I'm gonna keep warm my little. Oh, I'm dropping everything. My bare ears. What is that? Something stuck to my head. Oh. All right, good night, everyone. Thank you for coming. Thank you, mods, for being the best mods ever. And happy birthday, Lynn. Bye. I know, isn't it cute? It's from Fashion Nova. Look, I got pants to match. See? Hold on, I'll show you real quick before I go. It has like a little, like drawstring thing here. And it has pants that match, so it looked like a little teddy. Isn't that cute? It's a Sherpa outfit from Fashion Nova. I said earlier, I love Fashion Nova sweat outfits. They're warm and they're comfy and they're good quality. I recommend them to everyone. And thanks, Nathan. Yes, it was a great conversation tonight. I love a nice little debating conversation. Friendly debate conversation. I better hashtag what? Hashtag what? My Fashion Nova. I could put the link in there if you guys like it. If I can find it. All right, good night, everyone. Bye. Yeah, I'll have to hashtag Fashion Nova. Maybe they'll sponsor me for showing off my Fashion Nova outfits. Good call. I'll put it in my tags. See you guys.